Hey, this is All the Rage with Paige. I'm Paige, and I'm going to be turning 30 in a few days. So I've decided this week we're going to talk about aging, baby. I did actually want to give a shout out to my producer / husband because if he didn't set this up for me, I would not be able to do this podcast at all. Like, I would have no idea how to do a lot of the stuff that he does. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, especially because the quality is so good. It is so good. We did some changes with the lighting this time, and I just feel like he nailed it. And I don't know if he's, I don't even think I've had to ask him to do any of this stuff. And I don't know if he's doing it for sex, but it's working. So good job. So I'm turning 30 in a few days. And aging, I guess, has been on my mind a bit recently. I feel like turning 30 is the, kind of first time you really start to even really consider yourself as aging. It's kind of weird to say that, but I actually got a tattoo for myself for my birthday. And here it is. Wow. Am I having a midlife crisis? I've actually always wanted to be covered in tattoos. And I haven't had one done in, I think, 8 years now. So I don't know. I was coming up on my birthday, had no plans, and was just like, you know what? I'm turning 30. I might as well start all these tattoos that I want. It just felt like time. I might as well get started on it now. I feel the most confident that I ever have, and I just feel like I've always wanted all the tattoos, and I would like to enjoy it when I'm feeling the best. I'm never going to be younger, so time to start. Plus, it's going to take time to get covered in tattoos, especially because of how expensive it is nowadays, so gotta start now. And it really doesn't hurt that bad. I got my feet done first. And I feel like that was smart because after that, things are fine. Even the tattoo artist that did this one said that he doesn't even have his feet done. So that's what's up. What am I going to do on my actual birthday? My actual birthday this year is on Black Friday. So I don't know. I was kind of thinking about going out thrifting by myself. That was like the thing that I thought of. And I don't really want cake. And I think I'm just going to on my way home, grab some crumble and ice cream, and that's kind of what I want, to be honest. And yeah, so that's my plan for my 30th birthday. I don't know why that's so funny to me. I think just because I feel like people would hear that and think that's so sad, but that's legitimately what I want to do. But if you are 30 and older, then you might understand that that sounds like a pretty good day. Okay, so let's go over the polls. The first question that I asked was, how do you feel about yourself aging? And fortunately, 48% of you said mostly good. Sorry, I keep moving in my chair. I realize that's probably really distracting. It's hard to just sit still, but also I feel like just me sitting still, it probably isn't that fun to watch either. So, okay, I'm gonna stop worrying about it. I don't know if you could hear that. That was my kid's monitor. Okay. And then second place was 39% of you said 50-50. The second question was, do you feel more or less sexy as you get older? 39% of you said mostly more, and then we had a tie of 26% for about the same and mostly less. So I would say that's on the up and up. I would say that's where we're wanting it to be. 100% should be more, because we should be loving ourselves. And that includes loving our bodies. Plus, I know every single one of you that answered these polls, and you're all sexy. So I'm just telling you, I'm never wrong. I'm just telling you that I am never wrong. And I know sexy. And you're all sexy. I asked if you guys are more or less expressive as you age, and what is wrong with me? 38% of you said mostly more, and 29% of you said 50-50. I just realized I haven't been answering what my answer was on any of these. Not that it really matters, but for me on this one, I think I said mostly more, but I could definitely resonate with the 50-50 situation. Let me just reflect on it a little second. I don't know. I feel like I was pretty expressive all my life, but I think now I'm just more sure of who I am in general. So it all feels just, that much more authentic, if that makes sense. And plus, I think in the past, I was more worried about other people's opinions, whereas like now, lesser so. So there's just that added layer of like safety from myself and just assurance that, no matter how I express myself, like I accept who I am. And so it just, it makes that expression more authentic, I guess. I asked, what's the best part about aging so far? And seriously, what? Okay. 50% of you said giving less fucks, and 25% of you said confidence / acceptance of self. And more on giving less fucks in a minute. But I gotta say, I think the older I get, the more I understand that acceptance of yourself is really just like the key to everything. Straight up. But I mean, really, like accepting yourself, it just makes everything else less problematic and toxic, to be honest, because I don't know. I mean, just naturally as humans, we worry about a lot more than we need to. Small things feel really big. You put other people before yourself, and that usually causes more problems than, you had in the first place. You have more gratitude, but then also like good memories, I feel like, when you accept yourself. I just feel in general, it just like, it helps everything. It really could pretty much solve everything for the most part too. I don't know. Something to digest. Something to think about. Something to try on for size. Wow. I keep wanting to check this app, Laps. I don't know. I only know like 2 people that are on it, but it's like a new Polaroid. You can't even call it a Polaroid. It's just like a new photos app where you can put music on it. I'm really selling it. But you have to like wait to see the pictures, and I don't know how productive it is because I keep checking. I'm not normally excited, but I feel like these ones are going to be pretty cool. And yeah, it's selfies. And by cool, I meant sexy. I asked, what's been the hardest part about aging so far? And I like how I'm like pretending I memorized. No, I didn't memorize shit. 50% of you said responsibilities, which I'm pretty sure was my answer because and 29% of you said worrying about more. And I can totally understand and relate to this, however. And I didn't think about this. I wasn't setting anybody up for a trap on this one, okay? I promise. But I did have some outside conversations with you guys on the polls, which, first of all, just makes me really happy because I love hearing about your guys' perspectives, like always. But then also, it just, it gives me more things to think about. Things I might have not thought about before. Yeah, anyway, so I had good conversations about this, and it also got me thinking after those conversations that worrying about things, for the most part, has never helped me. It's usually actually the worst part about situations is like my anxiety and assuming or anticipating, trying to tell the future, like all that sort of behaviors are usually like the worst part of those experiences for me. And normally worrying about other people isn't exactly helpful because that's just really communicating to them that you don't trust them to be able to figure things out on their own. And also, a lot of worrying comes from things that are completely outside of our control. So it's kind of like a waste to be putting that energy there. But it also got me thinking that like worrying is also kind of a privilege. I feel like there are a lot of things to worry about, obviously. Things are scary. Things are unfair. Things are really dark. But it's a privilege in a way because we have more time to worry now, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like back in the day, there wasn't even really as much of that time because, you know, they were in the thick of it and they didn't have time to worry about it. And I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of like, when you're not doing something, your brain automatically like tries to find something to worry about. Like, I would say that is definitely a more privileged state than like just straight up being in a crisis 24/7 and just fighting for your life. Like, you know, us having to live out in the wilderness, or even back in the day when they did have homes, but they had to throw their shit out the window and smell that all day. I don't know. Just another something to think about. What is that even from? I don't even think that's a thing. I think I'm just delirious. And sexy. And almost 30. Is that all the polls? Don't know who I'm asking. Don't know who I am asking. I really think you guys are here with me. I really think you guys are here with me right now. Which I don't know what that says. But it says a lot. Alright, so back to giving less fucks. The timing is kind of crazy. You know, these are the kinds of signs and synchronicities that just really get my panties wet. Is I just like randomly decided. I've had the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, for, 5 years. Never touched it. I got a lot of self-help books. I like self-help books. And I did actually want to talk about that later. Another bookmark to just keep you hanging on this riveting podcast. But yeah, I just and it's usually on Libby. I don't know if you're on a Libby, but that's library books on your phone. Audiobooks, you can even transfer books to your Kindle. This is not an ad. It's all free. And you better sign up today. But yeah, it's usually available. They must have a lot of copies of it. I think it's by Mark Manson. And it's only 5 hours, that first book. And it was actually really good. I think it only took me 1 or 2 listens to get through it because I actually, was paying attention and taking on what he was saying. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. But I just kind of realized the correlation because it made me think a lot about the conversations I was having with people about aging. And since I just finished it today, I thought I would give some of the points that just kind of gave me an aha moment. I felt personally called out in one part where he was talking about how a lot of us are more comfortable, and this is just as an example, but I'm sure you could, use this for endless things. A lot of us are more comfortable with being considered an unknown artist versus a failed one. And that hit me because as much as I've put effort into doing this podcast even, the quality is great. I'm doing it. And, that's a step I'm extremely proud of, is that I'm putting it out there and doing it and all of that. But I haven't taken it seriously to a point where I'm trying to do something with it. I'm not trying to have an audience outside of my friends. I'm not trying to like market it or anything like that. And I've thought about this a ton of times, but when I heard that on the audiobook, it did hit me. And I was like, I think that's probably part of it. Like, I think I have a fear of, I don't know. I don't want to like cater to anybody. Like, I don't want to be worried about what anyone's thinking about it. I like having my little comfort zone of, you know, my support system. I like, yeah, just not having to worry about it in general. So, I don't know. But it also made me realize, like, I also just don't really want that sort of attention. I don't want to have a bunch of comments or have anyone say anything. I don't know. I just don't really want to deal with that. So I'm like, I mean, I guess that's okay. It would be nice to make some money from it. That would be cool. But then it'd feel like a job. I don't know. I'll still keep thinking about it, but I just thought that point was pretty interesting and definitely made sense for me. And probably the biggest point in this book that was something that was a good reminder for me. And the thing I was going to say about self-help books is I was actually thinking just this morning how, you know, people like to make fun of self-help books and like people that like them. And they're just like, you know, why is it even a thing? Like, if the self-help books worked, there wouldn't be endless amounts of them and people wouldn't want to read so many of them, sort of thing. And the thing is like, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm assuming a lot of people feel this way too, is the reason I like them so much is because it's more of like a tool to me. It's more of like a book of reminders. Also just hearing different people's mindsets, because even if like self-help books are similar to each other, like there's usually some difference of opinion somewhere in there. So it's just nice to kind of like expand your knowledge of perceptions and different ways of thinking about things. But also like, even if you are growing and you make big transformations, like you're always going to fall back at some point. Like there's always seasons to life. So nobody's just going to find a solution and they're good and dandy for the rest of their lives. Like literally, that is not what life is. Life is about the ups and downs, the lightness and the darkness, baby. So yeah, I like to, you know, listen to a self book here and there, check myself, wreck myself. But the other point he made about, you know, things that we either do or don't pursue, but, you know, our general like attempts to put ourselves out there or make a name for ourselves, all those kinds of things. So in his words, it's an attempt to construct a conceptual self that will live on forever. All the meaning in our life is shaped by this innate desire to never truly die. I think all of us have a fear of failure, a failure of life. And then ultimately that fear equates to our fear of like dying and never being remembered. AKA like we're just gone. And that's why we want to like figure out the meaning of life. We want to make sense of things and like be able to control things and know things. That's why I feel like it's the most important thing to like just accept ourselves for all of it and to go for things even if we do fail, and to try to come to like terms with death and find like beautiful parts of that. There is like freedom in knowing that we all die. And also like none of us are really that important. I don't know. It's kind of a good thing, because we should just, you know, be able to accept and be ourselves and just go for things, try to get the most experiences that we can out of this life, whatever it frickin' means. Accept all the unknowns, accept what we can't control, the dark parts about life, because if it wasn't for the dark, then I don't think there would really even be anything that meant happiness. I don't think that would exist without the opposite. And life wouldn't exist without death either. And that's an interesting thing about aging too, is like, it's weird that we kind of seem to fear it because it makes death more evident. But we're really not promised like any single day. We're not promised anything. So it's interesting that, like, you know, it seems like we're going in a better direction with it, which was some of the things that people were telling me. But there is a lot of fear and negativity when it comes to aging, which does seem silly when you think about it from a different perspective, because it's a privilege in general. Like, the longer life you live, like, you already made it. You already did it. I guess it only doesn't maybe feel that way if you think you haven't done enough. And the thing is, like, who's judging? The only real judgment that matters is your own. And you're only going to be wasting more time the more you judge yourself and you don't accept yourself. I thought I was going to be so much more eloquent, but I think like all my brain power went away, which kind of explains the deliria earlier. So, I don't know. It was probably still kind of entertaining. I laughed, so I had a good time. And I kind of want to have sex after this, so I don't want to be too long. Because it's already 9 p.m. and I'm almost 30. So, that's why. This is the last time you'll see me at the ripe age of 29. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope I will pretend I'm talking to you next week. Make sure you participate in the polls. I do not know what the topic next week is because I plan things last second. But my consistency be on point. So I'll see you there. All right. Bye.